I'm Mike Batchelor at the Community Foundation, and I want to give you a quick review of 2014 before I get into the slides here, just so you know. And these are all preliminary numbers. Things change at our office because, like yours, year-end is very busy. But it looks like calendar year 2014, we raised about $8.9 million, and that's about $1 million over last year. And it's the 12th year in a row that new gifts were over $7 million. So the idea is this is going to provide more support for the nonprofit sector going forward. And money coming in is one thing, but money going out is what you're most concerned about, I know. And it looks like we gave away $11.2 million last year. And thank you very much. That's the second year in a row. Grants were over $10 million. It's a 10% increase over 2013. And when you look back, now you have some gray hairs, I have some gray hairs, just 5 years ago, this is almost doubled. It's 47% over 5 years ago. So we have a lot of donors to thank. We're here really as an intermediary, to help you. The money that we have and manage is really for the nonprofit sector. So we'll continue doing our job, and I know you'll continue doing your jobs, and together we hope to move the region forward as much as possible. My introductory remarks are just to kind of set the framework of what the foundation does. Most of you are here to talk about our competitive grant-making program, and I'll get off the stage and let others talk about that. But we make grants, Helping Today, Shaping Tomorrow, capital fund drives, and we do have an urgent grant program. Frankly, most of our money is donor advised and designated now, and I hope you all receive funding from some of those folks. They're listed in our annual reports. These are generous people that want to help the nonprofit sector. And we have an active and growing scholarship program. Beyond grant making, we also do some special initiatives that I hope some of you are familiar with. Erie Gives, we're going to be talking about that. It's coming again. A little too soon to send out the tweets and Facebook posts, but it's coming. Vital Signs is our key indicator project, and I hope you take a look at that. We're going to have some exciting announcements very soon about I'll just give you a hint. We have a new partnership with Penn State Erie, Economic Research Institute of Erie, and they're going to be working with us on Vital Signs, so Jim Curry and Dr. Ken Louie. We think that's going to be terrific. Stay tuned. We have a wish book program on things that we can't fully fund. We put them online, and we encourage you and your donors to take a look at that. Donors Choose is a program where we work with our donor advisors who we know are interested in particular topics and try to leverage some of their funding over to your organizations. We also run the Women's Fund, many of you know about that, and we sponsor many events. In the area of community leadership, we do our best to try to come up with some new and creative programming for the community. This goes back many years now, but we helped launch and strengthen Erie Free Taxes, which gives the federal earned income tax credit to low-income working families. It's a very effective poverty-fighting program. Erie's Future Fund is a scholarship program for low-income kids into high-quality preschool. Partnered with the United Way to make a major grant for the Imagination Library to work on literacy. We also provide operational funding for Erie Together, have done that for several years, so the good work they do, we're providing this operational funding to make that happen. Of course, we work with donors in many different ways, trying to build more charitable endowments for our community. We now have, I think, 750 or so charitable endowments, all operating under the umbrella of the Community Foundation. The Friends Group, that's relatively new, but you might want to know about that. We're trying to engage younger people in our work. We have some special meetings and briefings, and young is a relative term, I guess 30 to 50 sort of thing. So that they are the future leaders of our community and they know about the Community Foundation, and when they're in the position to leave their estates, they are thinking about leaving a charitable legacy for our community. So that's just a quick overview of some of the things we do. We also work with regional affiliates. We staff them all out of our office, and some of you probably receive funding from Corey, Northeast, Union City, or perhaps even Findlay Lake. This is a great model because they encourage their friends and neighbors to give money to their community foundation, and the administration of that is all run out of our office, so we're sort of the the back office, the idea generator for these groups, and it's working well. Many of you have agency endowment funds with the Community Foundation, and I think there's 100 or so. And the idea there is there's some economies of scale. We can bring professional money management. We work with a very sophisticated consulting firm. And over time, we hope that produces good performance. It won't match the market. You know, this year was basically, hey, if you had all your money in U.S. equities, bingo, you did great. Our performance won't be like that because that's not how we're invested. We're invested for up times and down times. I hope you all know about, I don't know if Bob Wooler's here, but NPP, that was a community leadership project of ours. We, along with many of you, you fund it in terms of your dues. We provide $150,000 in operating funding and also $50,000 for their re-granting capacity building grants. So we view this as a way to help you with continuing ed, for Nonprofit Day, other sorts of capacity building. So I encourage you, if you're not, to take advantage of the nonprofit partnership, and if for some reason your agency isn't a member, it's very modest dues. I think it's between 100 and 500. I hope you take a look at that too. So that's a very high-level overview. I'll get off. Thanks, everybody. Happy New Year. And now I would like to invite George Espy, our Vice President of Community Impact, to the stage.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming and braving the elements to be here today. I know this is to be expected in January in Erie, but still it's not something that most of us like all that much. But it's nice to see the sun, and it's particularly nice to see you here this morning. My purpose is to begin to talk with you about the types of grants that the foundation makes. There are 5 different kinds of grants that we're going to be talking about this morning. They're summarized in this grant guidelines. If you didn't get one of those, please be sure to pick one out before you leave this morning. But what I'm going to do is to try to talk with you a little bit about how the grant making fits into our mission. You have a mission, we have a mission. And essentially our missions are very, very similar. We are interested in improving the quality of life here in Erie County, and you're doing the same thing, and so that's the reason we really look at you as partners in this. The foundation doesn't operate programs directly. You do, and we try to fund you in order to help you accomplish your mission. We know you're passionate about what you do. We also want to be sure in terms of our grant making that there's evidence to support that passion, that the need really is there, and that what you're proposing to do is something that has some reason to believe will be successful going forward. We have 5 different types of grants, and we're going to look at each of those. We're going to start with our Helping Today grant, and to do that, I'm going to ask Pat Herr, who's the director of our Community Impact, to come forward and talk with you about the Helping Today grants. Pat.
Good morning, everybody. I'm just here to briefly go over the Helping Today Grants program. Helping Today is a grant-making program that supports your programs and initiatives. Those of you that know me know that I come from your side of the tracks, and so it's exciting for me to be involved in this program that really helps to support a lot of the initiatives that are so important to nonprofits in some really challenging times. Helping Today is our grant-making process that responds to specific tangible needs of your organizations. Generally speaking, the requests don't exceed $30,000, and the awards are limited to a 12-month period. The types of awards that we grant are currently program enhancement, which is all about improving capacity, program expansion, which is invested in enlarging your programs and developing your programs as needed. The communication and marketing category is all about helping to fund different ways to tell your story, to get your story out to donors, funders, potential volunteers, just giving you an opportunity to come up with ideas of ways to get the message out. We know how challenging that is. Capital facilities and system needs is essentially what it says. It's for improving and upgrading equipment, tools, office supplies, office space, things of that nature. Also, technology needs. Technology and vehicle purchases are a 50% match, as many of you know. And then, obviously, great ideas. We're interested in looking at some of the ideas that you have that may not fit in the current box. We've had, over the years, you know, I've had an opportunity to read many of the ideas that you folks have had. I know I've had some of them myself, I thought anyway. And this is the great ideas category is a little bit non-traditional in the grant-making process, but nonetheless an important part of what we're doing. The Helping Today grant review process, as listed, is the pre-application meeting where you have an opportunity to come in and meet with the community impact team and discuss your ideas. Then you will get online, go through the application process. Rachel, our administrative assistant, will come up and talk a little bit about that later. We will then, once you've submitted your application, do our due diligence, and that's, in some cases, an opportunity for us to do some back and forth conversations to answer any questions you may have had or questions that we have about your application. In some cases, we will employ a site visit. You know, not always, but you know, in certain projects, facilities projects and things of that nature, it's helpful for us to get out and see those. And then also site visits afterwards. I think it's important for us to get out and look at the different programs and view what you're doing. We will then review the recommendations internally, and then we will make our recommendations and then review them internally, and then sit down with our community impact panel. This is a terrific group that we organize. They take serious consideration of each of these applications, and then we get an opportunity to sit down and really hash out the decisions that are made. It's difficult. There's always more requests than we have dollars to fund, but I think the panel does a terrific job of really looking at all the ins and outs of your applications, and really, you know, your application is really the story. Your application is the story, and as difficult as it is to deny some requests, it is equally as important and makes us, and certainly me, feel great to approve some of these requests, both large and small. We then review our decisions with the board, make our notifications, send out the letters, and you are then asked to do 2 evaluations of the process. Our next category is Wish Book. That's our online application process. For those applications that are awarded but not fully funded, this gives the opportunity for our donors and your donors and people invested in your program to fully fund your request. And this is something that is ongoing with us, and I think we'll make some headway this year in developing this process, but it's on our website, and please check that out. Next are a few Helping Today examples of new programs. The Erie Philharmonic, that's a new program. The Brad Falk CAC was a service expansion award, and the Snoops program is an example, again, of a program enhancement award. These are just our deadlines. Obviously, that first one is coming up fast, so we look forward to getting folks in and having a chance to meet with you and hash out your ideas. And I think that's about it. Okay. Thank you very much.
We're going to move on to the second type of competitive grant we have, and that's our Shaping Tomorrow grants. These are the larger grants that are intended to move the needle in some major way, transformative way on some large community topic. If you want to move to the next slide, I want to talk with you about what the process is and what we mean by Shaping Tomorrow in these larger grants. First of all, they're multi-year grants, up to 3 years. They don't have to be 3 years, but they'll fund it up to 3 years. They're evidence-based. This is where we really want to be absolutely certain that the need exists and that you're able to document that need very carefully, and that the proposal that you have to meet that need is something that gives us some reason to believe we'll be successful. So it's evidence-based, and I would refer you to Erie Vital Signs for that data, and I'll talk about that in just a second. These are also collaborative grants. Now, collaboration means a lot of things. There's a spectrum of different types of collaboration. It could be just a letter of support. It could be merger. We're not talking about that. When we talk about collaboration, this is what we mean. Partnership among multiple nonprofits to achieve shared outcomes. So the letter of support is not collaboration. Yes, I'll work with you if I can find time and if there's something for me to do. It's not collaboration. The collaboration we're talking about is a couple nonprofits or multi-sector groups coming together to say, we agree on these outcomes. We share a commitment to achieve these outcomes, and we will work together in this project in these ways to achieve these shared outcomes. That's what collaboration means, at least for the Shaping Tomorrow grants. We're looking for grants that are transformational, that come with a significant potential to actually have a positive community impact on some Erie Vital Signs area. It could be the education, it could be economy, it could be environment, it could be cultural vitality. We were looking for a transformational project so that when this project is completed in 2 or 3 years, something significant has happened in the community to make this a better place in which to live and work. We also know that these projects, we want these projects to continue beyond the grant cycle. So in the project proposal, we're looking for a sustainability plan. How will this go on afterwards? We don't want to get something really great started with you and then in 2 or 3 years have it end because the funding ends. So what's the sustainability plan that you propose? And we're going to look for that all to be wrapped up into a logic model that's based on a sound theory of change. These are the assumptions that we make in order to change these kind of things, and this is how we're going to move logically from here to there. Those are the components of these Shaping Tomorrow grants. Now, I said they are based on data. You can get that. You can go onto the web and Google something and come up with some data, but you'll also have to do some work to find out what the Erie data is. We make that easier for you. If you're not familiar with Erie Vital Signs, go to the web, Google erievitalsigns.org, and you'll find it. And you'll find information about 8 topical areas. This is an indicator project that compares Erie with other communities across the country and provides you with the latest information, the latest data, the latest evidence relating to 40-some indicators within those 8 topical areas. So if you haven't found Erie Vital Signs, this is what the website looks like with the 8 areas. Of the 8 areas, the board has agreed that their priorities are the ones in green: economy, health, and education. Doesn't mean that they won't receive or consider a proposal in the other areas, but these are the areas where they have particular interest going forward. That's the way the website looks. It's going to be revitalized. It's going to be changed in the next few months. Mike gave you a little bit of information about the new partnership that we have with Erie, with the Erie Regional Institute of Economics, and we're going to be working with them to revitalize this and make it a lot more valuable to you with the data that you can use and other people can use to make decisions about the best way to proceed. Now, the process is a little different this year for Shaping Tomorrow, and this is a summary of the process. We'll begin with the pre-application meetings. You've got an idea, you have a project you think might work, we want you to come and talk with us. So between now and April the 1st, please come. Come with your ideas. We'll talk them through. We may have multiple meetings to try to flesh this all out with those various categories of sustainability and collaboration and evidence and so forth. And at the end of that time, what we're looking for is a two-page project summary. Give us a project summary with those elements, sustainability, evidence, and so forth, that describes what you propose to do. The board then will take serious time to review all of the summaries that you submit across all of those areas. Based on their study of your two-page proposal or summary, they'll make some decisions about, we would like to have full proposals in these areas, and they will then construct and release an RFP saying, this is what we're looking for, and then you'll begin, if you're one of those, if you're in that area, then you'll create the full proposal, which gets into us by the 1st of September, and the board then will review all those full proposals and make their decision at their September, if I said December, I'm wrong, their early September meeting. We may make one grant for Shaping Tomorrow. We may make 2 or 3 grants. It's going to be based on the need, the evidence, the project that you submit, and their assessment of how they can make the biggest difference in something here in Erie. That's the Shaping Tomorrow process. Here's an example of some of the Shaping Tomorrow grants. These are the larger grants that we make. This could be up to $500,000. These are some grants that were made in the last few years that are larger grants that are intended to have this kind of lasting impact on issues that are facing Erie County. So that's our Shaping Tomorrow process. Please come and talk with us about any ideas you may have. We also fund a third type of competitive grant, are the community fund drives, campaigns. If you have a fund drive, a campaign going on this year, we now have an application for that. In the past, we didn't really have a good application. We made you fill in another kind of application and try to make it fit. This year we have an application for community fund drives. This could be a capital campaign, endowment campaign, or something like that. If it's above $500,000, if your campaign is that, then you'll need to go to the Community Fund Drives Committee that is shepherded by Nonprofit Partnership and get their endorsement. And we would require that endorsement to consider a larger campaign request. If yours is under $500,000, you don't have to go through the NPP process. You can go online and submit to us as well. There's a new online application that you would use if you're going to have a community fund drives campaign this year. Again, if you have questions about that, if you're thinking about that, you need to come in and talk with us first before you start anything else, because you frankly can't get into the website to start to fill in the application until we give you the code to do that, and you don't get the code to do that until you come see us. Okay. The last type of grant that I want to talk about are the urgent grants. Sometimes something happens, you know, the boiler breaks down, the roof starts to leak. It's something that is an urgent request. It can't wait until one of these grant guidelines comes up. Call us. We'll do what we can. We'll help you complete the form, and our board would consider that in a more timely manner. So urgent requests are possible, but you'll have to call us and talk with us about that when and if that circumstance arises. Now, Foundation does more than just simply give grants. We have the ability to do other kinds of things for nonprofits, and we want to do that. So we added a question this year to the grant applications. We said to you, if you submitted an application to us, what are some other ways that the Foundation could help you? Well, this is what you said to us. So this is kind of feedback to you about what you told us you would like the Foundation to help you with. There were 3 major things that you said in applications this year. You said you'd like some help with fundraising, raising more dollars. Well, in addition to providing grants for you, we're going to try to do that. We're doing that through the Wish Book program. You've heard about that a couple times. So if you're partially funded, your project goes up on the website, and others We'll talk with our donors about that, and you'll be able to maybe get some additional dollars there. We also convene all the local funders on a quarterly basis, and our intention is to share the kind of grant making we do with them so that they may potentially be interested, at least be informed about other possibilities for grant making. We hope that will increase your ability to raise some additional funds. You also said to us, we would like some help promoting our organization or our project. This is how we're going to try to respond to that. We have a donor base of 400 and 500 donors. Mike talked about the donor advised funds. We're going to be telling the story of the grants that come into us to our donors in a more systematic way so that they hear what you're doing and potentially would be able to and willing to commit some of their dollars to support your project. So we'll do that in a more intentional way. And then we're also going to list the funded grants on our website. People don't know who we're funding unless they come to a grants reception or they see the press release. So we're going to start to list those grants on our website so the public can see the kinds of things that have been endorsed by the foundation, funded by the foundation, that they may also be interested in supporting. So that's how we're going to try to promote your organization and your project. The final thing you said to us, interestingly enough, we'd like to have some help in collaborating. Well, the Shaping Tomorrow grant process now, as I've just told you about, is intended to encourage more close collaboration among nonprofits who are interested in the same kinds of topics. And we're going to promote information sharing, knowledge sharing also among nonprofits in a new way this year. We're going to be sponsoring a series of listen, learn, and share conversations with nonprofits. There are 8 areas in Erie Vital Signs: education, health, economy, environment, and so forth. What we're going to do this year, starting in March, is we're going to invite you, if you are a nonprofit who's dealing with education or environment or health or cultural vitality, or you might have 2 or 3, we're going to invite you to come and share information with one another and with us. We want to know whether what we have on the vital signs, the trends that we identify with vital signs about the economy or about cultural vitality, is this what you're seeing? You're out there in the field, you're out there every day working in this area. We want to listen, we want to learn, and we want to give you an opportunity to share with one another as well what you're learning. And this is not a time when you come and you give a speech and promote your own project, but we want to talk about the topic. We want to learn more, we want to listen to you, we want to know as much as we can about what's going on in the community, and you guys in a lot of ways know more than we know. So come talk with us, let us share what we think is going on, you can tell us, and then we'll give you an opportunity to talk with one another who are doing the same kinds of things. And maybe out of that will come a little more collaboration, or certainly a little more understanding about what's going on in the community. That's one of the ways that we're trying to respond to this request that you've made of us to help with more collaboration and sharing. Finally, Mike mentioned the nonprofit partnership. If you're not a member, I encourage you to consider joining. If you are a member, I encourage you to take advantage of the programs and services the nonprofit partnership offers. They exist in order to help you increase your capacity to do the good work you want to do and that you've stated in your mission. So we encourage you to take advantage of NPP. If you don't know their website, there it is. It's pretty easy to remember. Dial it up and see what kinds of programs they're offering in the next few weeks, and if it's at all possible, take advantage of that. Okay. It's an online application process, so what I'm going to do is ask our Community Impact Associate, Rachel Chacon, to come and talk with you a little bit about how you get into this website and what you need to do there, and then we'll move on to other funding opportunities. Rachel.
Good morning, everybody. I am just going to talk very briefly about our online application. It's something that is very, very user-friendly, which is good because you have a lot on your plate. You're trying to apply for a grant. You don't need an application that's cumbersome. So the first thing that you'll want to do is go to our website, eriecommunityfoundation.org, and you will select for grant seekers, because that's what you will be. And then you'll select the type of grant that you're applying for, Helping Today, Shaping Tomorrow. And then you will click Apply for a Grant. The interface may have changed a bit from last year, but nothing that is, so different that it's, going to cause any problems. For those of you that are returning grant seekers, it will be the same login, your email, and your password. Your organization may have several people that are considered applicants, but you really should, as an organization, just have one login. It just cuts back on, confusion, mostly for you guys. So you will put in your email, your password, you'll log in. The next page you will see will be your dashboard, and it'll list all of the grants that your organization has applied for. And if you're applying for a new grant, you will then click apply. And the next page that you'll see will give you the grant cycle that we're in, say, Helping Today 2015 Cycle 1. And it will tell you to click on the link below. At first you won't see a link because you'll have to put in an access code. And those access codes are given to you at the conclusion of your pre-application meeting. So you won't be able to do anything with this application until you talk to us and get your access code. Once you have your access code, you will enter it in, and then you will see that link appear below, which will then take you to the application. If you are a new organization, you will have to create your organization on our website, and all you'll do is create new account. You'll click create new account. It will bring you up to the page where you'll just enter your organization's information. It is important to note that once you enter the information for your organization, for some reason, then you're not able to go back and edit it. You have to call us, and we're able to make those changes for you. But, you're new, it's just simple information, and then you will have access the same as any other organization with a username, a password, and you'll be able to get to the application. The application itself, we are going to talk more about next Wednesday. We are having an application workshop at Blasco Library from 1 to 3 on Wednesday, January 14th. And that's going to be more looking through our specific application at the questions that we ask. It's not a grant writing workshop. It's more specific to just our application here at the Erie Community Foundation. So that's all I have. I'm going to turn it over to our Vice President of Communications, and that is Erin Fessler.
Thanks, Rachel. Good morning, everyone. Bear with me. I'm fighting something. I got a flu shot on Monday, and I've been downhill ever since. But thank you for coming. One of the things that we heard from you is that we have our Helping Today grants, our Shaping Tomorrow grants, we have our Erie Vital signs, and we want you to make it all make sense. But sometimes you have like a fair or a festival or a walk or a race or a dance, and it doesn't fit into any of those categories. So our Board of Trustees carved out some money out of the budget so that we have now a sponsorship application. It's a one-sheet, very simple application. These are usually for like anywhere from $100, $250, $500, or $1,000. And so we have these forms in the back, and you can either take one or you can download them off of our website. We have them under grant seekers, and you can complete the event sponsorship form and then mail it into our offices. We would like you to have these into us by February 20th, and the reason for that is so that we can compare them all across the board. And what we found last year, this is the second year we've done it, what we found last year that there were some events at the end of the year that we just didn't have the money to fund. So we want to make it more fair for all of you and simpler. So after you mail it in, we will go through them all, and by March 30th, we'll give you an answer. Now, we'll have some flexibility with that, because let's say your board decides that they want to have an event that you weren't planning on. Reach out to us, and we'll work with you and see what we can do for you. So the next slide shows you an example of the wish book, and we've talked about that a couple times today, but that's really your chance to tell your story. If your grant is partially funded, we'll help you find more funding through Wishbook. But what we need from you is for you to promote this part of yourself on the Wishbook page. So we can send you the link, and then you can forward that to your donors and say, here the Community Foundation believes in us. They could only fund X amount of dollars. Please help us get to where we need to reach our goals. So if you use that marketing piece well, it'll work for you. Then, as you know, Erie Gives is coming up. Erie Gives 2014 was awesome. It was our best year ever. Every year since we started it, it's gone up $500,000 a year. Last year, we raised over $2.1 million for you. And the beauty of that, and that was also in response to you, is that there's no strings attached. You don't have to fill out any forms. All you have to do is promote it, and then whatever the money you raise is yours to use as your nonprofit needs. Those were our sponsors last year. We've reached out to all of them again because our goal is to get the prorated match pool up for you so that you receive more of the Erie Gives dollars. So if you would mark your calendar for the next slide is Erie Gives 2015. It's going to be Tuesday, August 11th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then we will distribute the checks on Friday, August 26th at the Erie Zoo. Our finance team needs a little bit more time. We try to turn those checks around really fast, but when you're processing that many gifts in that short of amount of time, we want to make sure we have no errors. And so we've given our finance team a little bit more time. So, but keep those dates open if you can. And all nonprofits, returning and new, need to complete the registration form, which is at Erie Vital Signs or eriegives.org in order to participate. And basically, the reason we ask you to do that is there's a lot of turnover in the nonprofit sector, and so there could be new executive directors, new addresses, new phone numbers, and we don't want to put bad information up on you. So we have all of your profiles. If you can't remember what you did, call us, email us. Christina Brown, who works in the communications department with me, handles all of that, and she's very detail-oriented, so she can help you work through the process, but it's very simple. It's live now, so you can go today to eriegives.org and fill out your registration form. We'd really like those all completed by July 31st, so that when we start promoting it to the media, we'll be on radio and television, really promoting Erie Gives as much as we possibly can. We want to have all of you listed. We actually bought the cover for the Lake Erie Lifestyles, which will come out July 31st, and it will be all about Erie Gives. And so, as George mentioned and Mike has mentioned, we need to tell your stories to the community. Susanna Weiss-Fregon, who is our Vice President of Investor Relations, she meets with donors on a regular basis. And so the more stories we have to tell, the better it is for our community. So last year we asked you to send stories in, and you did, and the response was phenomenal. And we put them all on our Facebook page. Our Facebook likes went out the roof. I mean, it was, our peers and other community foundations were jealous of how we did that, and we said we really just told the nonprofit sector story. So email us or call us, whatever story you have. If you give us a couple pictures, we'll put it out there for you. If you have a successful story of somebody that you helped improve their life, tell us, and we'll tell your story, because we have a pretty good audience that will listen and want to know your story. So that is everything that we have to share with you today. Stay healthy. It's not fun. Thank you for coming. And if you have any questions, we'll be mingling around in the back with coffee and donuts. Have a great day.